It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
We are ESPN Fresno, and yes, it's Inside the Patch, where we take a look at your Las Vegas Raiders, and man, there is a lot to look at. I do want to say that our special guest, of course, is Mitch Adams, a professor of the Perfect Rotation basketball training device, which is a game changer.
Yes, it is. And if you go to the Perfect Rotation website, order one, and put in Raiders as a promo code to get 30% off.
I love that. Love that. So, we both know that we put Antonio Pierce as the coach in the universe before it happened. And I think we did a reverse jinx because I kind of remember when the playoffs started, we said, as long as it's not the Chiefs and the Niners, I'll be happy. That's that, and I think we put that out there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know who to hate more. I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know.
I was telling someone, I said, I'm going to have to make plans in 2 weeks to be away from the TV and hope that there's a tie or something.
Well,
because I don't want either one of them to win it. I don't know who I want to lose more.
Someone is winning the Lombardi Trophy in our house in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Someone, and it's either the Niners or the Chiefs, and I'm just not cool with it.
I mean, the Chiefs are natural rival,
right?
As a team, but as a fan, San Francisco is a natural rival amongst the fans. And
so you're a Bay Area guy. You grew up there. So I think it's even
correction. I'm an Oakland guy.
An Oakland guy. Oh, you're an Oakland guy. And
I am from the Bay Area, but I'm an Oakland guy, and I will rep the Bay Area until it comes down to football.
Right.
And the lines are drawn deep into the sand.
And I know, and then sometimes, like I can go to the San Francisco airport sometimes, and I'll see a bunch of Niner statues, but then there's a Madden, there's a few, like, I don't know how you get into the airport bus, whatever that is, but I noticed there's some Raiders, there's some Niners,
Well, it's hard when you've grown up here and this is all you've known is the Raiders.
Right.
And now they're gone. And then you go to the Oakland airport and there's a bunch of San Francisco stuff. And soon there'll be San Francisco Giants stuff because it is one region. And if it was anywhere else in the country, there would be one team per sport and we would all be happy. But we were blessed with one of each. And, I could follow the Giants a little bit. No, I have a Giants hat. When I go to games, I'll wear a Giants hat. No big deal. But I've never owned anything Niners, ever.
Right.
Now, when I worked for Fox, I had to wear a credential that had the Niner logo on it. And that's about the only thing that I've ever worn that had Niners on it, or San Francisco.
So one of my favorite things to say to a Niner fan is I'll go, who my favorite Raider of all time is Jerry Rice. just to watch their faces go, no.
That's funny. Or Plunkett or Ted Qualick. Who else played? Cedric Hardman.
Yeah.
Matt Millen.
The Cedric Hardman thing, this is crazy. I used to work at a church down in yes, I did work at a church. I don't hold your applause. But I was a youth director, and one of the things is, this is down in Mission Viejo, El Toro area, and we were going to visit people that hadn't been in the church in a while, and I knock on the door, and Cedric Hardman answers. And I'm like, whoa, you're Cedric Hardman. like he knows he is. But it's like, he was a member of our church. I didn't even know. I was like, whoa. And you talk about him and Harry Carson are two of the biggest men I've ever seen in my life up close.
Yeah.
From their hands to their head to just like, you are just giant. Like,
Cedric he was, when I met him, it was almost as if he came straight out of Stir Crazy when he was, I don't know if you remember, when he was in the jail scene with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. That's what it felt like when I met him. I mean, he's just nice guy.
Right.
But you could tell that there's that dark side and that mean streak that makes you a great defensive end or tackle. And that he was. And
a side you never want to see. You never want to see that side.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, just, and then that's one thing that you don't get because they wear helmets and stuff, and they're kind of far away. But when you see them up close in person, you're just like, oh my goodness, I do not forearm rip me, please.
Yeah. I remember, speaking of San Francisco, I was working for Fox and I was down on the sideline. And you recognize guys on TV with their helmets are up, but here comes this huge human out of the tunnel or the dressing room up the stairs and onto the field. And I assumed it was a defensive lineman. I mean, he is ripped. It's T.O.
Really?
And
oh, yeah.
They're playing New Orleans, and he runs right through the New Orleans defensive backs warming up on the San Francisco sideline to intimidate J.J. Stokes. Everyone else ran around them.
Right.
T.O. ran right through them. And I was like, wow, now that's a player right there. And you saw the defensive backs look at him as he went by, and you could hear the whispers. He's bigger than I thought. Giant, man. Big man at receiver.
I was watching this thing this week, and it was Kurt Warner talking about Marshall Faulk. And he goes, I would bring people into the locker room, and they go, who's that at Marshall Faulk's locker? He goes, that's Marshall. He didn't have the muscle. He wasn't all cut. He's kind of like an average guy. But he didn't play like an average guy, But Kurt goes, I swear that's him. And they're like, no way. Because some of these guys out there, like you said, it's like they're so like Adonis Greek goddess,
Ricky Williams ran by. Thighs, I mean, bigger than my waist. It was insane how big his lower body was. And I'm like, how do you tackle that?
How do you get a wedding dress for him? To be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. How do you do that?
Dennis Rodman provides those.
Well, I mean, it's a crazy time because yes, the Raiders are not in the playoffs, but man, it feels like I don't know. I feel like we had a successful season. It's hard to explain to people,
It does feel, because you feel this groundswell coming, like, man, we are on the precipice of some greatness about to happen again. And this first pick in this draft, number 13, is going to be lucky 13. Let's point that out. It's going to be very important moving forward, who we take, whether that be a quarterback, unless we pick something up, a veteran. I don't know, but we still need it's all dependent upon what O'Connell does between now and the draft.
Right.
And or do we draft a lineman, offensive lineman, the tackle?
Well,
never go wrong with a great offensive lineman.
And it's hard to think that they're going to move forward on something until they hire an offense coordinator. I mean, maybe they will.
True.
But I don't think I think they want him to be part of that, and that's going to probably.
Yeah, it's still early. It's still early.
I heard if we get cut Hunter Renfrow and there's one other person,
Garoppolo,
$25 million cap save. So that's probably going to happen.
That's a lot.
That's. I mean, and
that's a lot.
I like Hunter Renfrow. I like it, but that's a business decision.
That would be definitely a business decision, one that I hate to see made, but you can find a slot receiver.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and think about, Caleb Williams, Jaden, all these guys that are kind of out of reach for us right now, but they could fit in.
They could.
I've heard Russell Wilson. I heard Justin from Chicago.
Justin Fields.
Yeah. And
well, Chicago's, they have the number one pick.
Yeah.
Now, do you roll the dice on a new rookie quarterback, or do you stand pat with what you have and then put some other pieces around it? I mean, you'd have to be crazy not to dip your toe in the water for Caleb Williams or Drake May or Jaden Daniels. I don't know how you don't draft one of those guys. So I think Justin Fields is going to be on the market at a hefty premium too.
Well, and I think Justin Fields is okay. His record does not look good, but he was on a bad team. And then I think, and so I heard this guy talking. He's from Chicago, and he goes, "I'll tell you, the Chicago fans are divided. Some people are like, you're crazy to get rid of Justin. Why would we do that?" And then there's others that said, "Why would we keep him?" And it's pretty divided. And this is the time when people are lying. No team is going to show their hand And don't expect our coach to come out there and say what we're doing. We're all lying. We're lying about everything,
For Chicago, that's a very tough decision because that's either going to make your career or break your career.
Right.
Because I just mentioned it. You draft Caleb I guess Caleb is the consensus overall number one, unless Chicago does something different. But that's how you lose your job. That's how you get out of the league quickly, by making a bad decision by not drafting someone like that. Then he turned out to be all world.
Right.
But then you're starting over in a sense, because as a young quarterback, you can't expect, it can happen, but you can't expect that person to come in and pick up right where you left off. So it's almost starting over again, which means the fan base has to temper their expectations for another year or two until Caleb or whomever that number one pick will be, until they get up to speed. So that's a tough call.
I think Marino was the only rookie quarterback to ever go to the Super Bowl, but he didn't win it, He did not. And he said, man, I thought I would go back a number of times. Every year.
And he played a long time.
Yeah.
But he never made it back. That just shows you how tough it is. And I was talking to a friend, and we talking about Minnesota going 4 times in the 70s and never winning.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about Buffalo going 4 times in a row, which is, someone says those guys are losers. I said, I would never call them losers. I said, that was a dynasty of sort to go 4 years in a row. Do you know how hard that is? And then the pressure to win after you lose number 1, then you lose 2. Oh my God, 3, and then 4.
Did you see that meme where it was right for the Buffalo guy's kicking, and this guy's sitting in front of his TV and he turns a fan on, and all of a sudden the ball goes shoo, and it looks like the fan did it. He goes, "Oh, I got this," and he turned the fan on. It was like perfect timing. I'm like, "Oh, that is so funny but horrible."
Yet again.
Yeah. Whoop, there it goes.
That was tough. That was tough to watch.
And the Lions, I just feel, I think a lot of people are rooting for the Lions just because they've never been there, and to be up 20, we know that feeling, to be up by 21 points or so, and then losing. I
think the pressure may have gotten to them.
Well, some lucky things happened. I'm like going, "Are you kidding me?" I think this tip, and then he got it.
Yeah. The blame can be shared all around. Goff had a number of opportunities to just scramble, and pick up first downs, and throwing behind the receivers, low, high. But if you get 2 hands on the ball,
you kind of got to catch it.
You should catch those and stop a lot of drives.
And I'm not trying to get into that whole Kansas City Chief Taylor Swift thing, but man, there's a lot. Okay,
oh God,
this will be the 13th game she attends at the Super Bowl. Taylor's flying in from Japan to make it to the game, and 13's her lucky number, her albums and all this stuff. And like it or not, she has brought a lot of people to the NFL. I mean, I don't even know. Nobody knows Usher's coming and Taylor Swift's coming and not even performing. That's a bigger thing.
It's a little nerve-wracking. Every time Kelsey takes a breath, they pan to the box to look at Taylor, like, what's Taylor doing? It's like, come on.
Even she was telling the camera, quit taking, she's barking at it, because she does say, I have any control over this. I don't.
Yeah.
But if and I don't think it's fair when the Chiefs lose that she gets blamed. But then I think that's part of being famous. That's just part of the deal,
Well, the Swifties, is that what they call them? The Swifties. Love it.
Oh yeah,
love it. Absolutely love it. And I'm sure there are 2 million new NFL followers, or at least follow the Chiefs, because of Taylor Swift.
Well, here's a fun fact. Andy Reid said this week, if it wasn't for the Raiders, we probably wouldn't be in the Super Bowl. And I was like, whoa, what? And he goes, that was a wake-up call. That was to lose to the Raiders. He goes, the team needed to go, we can't just walk and get this. We've got to earn this. And he goes, the Raiders, the way they were flying around, they came out with energy and backed it up. And I was like, and he's right. He's right,
Well, I heard Antonio Pierce this week say that when he took over, even when they were in shorts and walkthroughs in practice, he says, I wanted them to make contact. He said, when Adams is going out on a route, I want those defensive backs up in his face checking him. And he says, all of a sudden, guys started playing with a little more physical.
Oof. I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's like madness. And he says it became contagious. He said all of a sudden, the practices started coming. They started having meaningful practices because they were really getting physical with one another, not just walkthroughs. He said, and then that carried over onto the field. And we noted it that first game. There was a different energy. And I tell you, you spend an off season with that sort of energy, that's going to be highly contagious when they hit the field in August and September. That we're going to see a very different Raider team.
If I'm a free agent and I only got a couple years in the tank left, I want to go there. I'm seeing that. And I'm like, I want to be a part of that, you know?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I do think a number of free agents, one, Chandler Jones's contract gone, second highest paid player on defense.
Yep.
Now that money can go to someone else.
Right. We're looking good cap wise. We're set up pretty good.
Yeah.
And especially if Garoppolo, I don't think there's any chance. I've never heard nothing about him coming back. And then Hunter Renfrow, which, gosh, just 2 years ago, he caught 100 balls. And then all of a sudden he was invisible on Josh McDaniels. And then he still didn't even break over to this. And I don't know,
Yeah, I don't have any insight into that.
Well, I thought Carr really understood Hunter's patterns, because Hunter doesn't run a traditional 5-yard out. He does boom, 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 go. He knows where to get. And I think Carr was on the same page with him. So it made him different,
That's that kid on the playground when you're playing tag. You're like, I can't get him.
Right. How do you do that? Right. It's like crazy. So I like you said earlier, I think Super Bowl, I'm going to go bowling.
I don't know. Too bad golf courses aren't lighted, because if they had nighttime golf, I would be there.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
because I'm sure I'll watch, but I have.
We have to.
I have no team that I'm rooting for. I have cousins from Kansas City, and I remember my cousin called me when the Chiefs beat or won the last whatever Super Bowl that was, and I said, "Hey, man, I think they were playing the Niners. Didn't they play? Yeah, they played the Niners.
Yeah."
And he called gloating. I said, dude, I hate the Niners. So, joke's on you.
Right.
Said,
right.
So I'll probably have to call him, like, no need to call me after the game. Because it's just,
which bad news do you want? It's bad news and bad news. There's no happy scenario at all.
Dude, I can't have San Francisco win. I just can't. I don't want to hear it locally.
Well, and then the Chiefs, same thing too. It's like
that's okay. I could deal with that, because
maybe it's because it's far where you live. Like you said, you're from the Bay Area, Oakland.
The radio. I can't even tune into the sports talk radio. It's sickening. But for them, I get it. I would be on top of the world myself.
Right.
So I definitely get it. But for a Raider fan that's true and through, or through however you say it, I can't take it, so I can't listen for another. It hurts. For another 10 days or so.
Well, we're already getting ready for next year. Like we can't wait for that. I can't wait for the draft. I can't, And then they still got to play this season. That's where they got to. I know though. If go ahead.
So I'm watching the Warrior game last night. It looked like the entire 49er roster was at the game.
They probably were.
Oh, my God. They were guests of the owner, and they're all courtside. And
right.
I was like, come on. So I get it. But for me, again, just a little, maybe, am I jealous? I don't know.
Well, they're going to be in our locker room.
I don't like them.
One of those teams is going to be in our locker room.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not, because you've got the college locker room there.
Okay, yeah, good.
UNLV's.
Right. Let's put them in there.
You're not going in the Raiders locker room. That locker room it's all Raiders. I mean, the Raider carpet and.
If you ever been there, they have it all roped off, not high security, like movie theater rope.
For the tour,
But that lets you know, hey, don't go over there.
No, it's cool. They won't be in there. I'm sure there are other locker rooms
unless they take the tour.
Put them in the Raiderettes locker room.
Now there you go. Now you're talking. Get your vanity mirror going and. Oh well, so we got to just ride this out. There's no stopping. This is what's happening. It's like we're on a bus headed towards Kansas City. San Francisco's going to win, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do.
But
I'll watch the game, and I'll wake up on Sunday, and Monday after the game, and life will go on, and then it will be back to all Raiders, no distractions.
And now, I can't wait till we're tied for first place with everybody the day after the Super Bowl. and I'm excited to see where we're at. I hate the fact that we're like a kid knowing Christmas is coming, and I just want my presents now. I don't want to wait for the draft and this, and because Raiders, something weird's going to happen. Something we're going to go. Can you believe that? Something's going to happen. Good or bad. Good or bad.
I hope we don't pull a page out of yesteryear. We need to turn a page and do something smart, because the last GMs that we've had, inexperienced. This guy here brings almost 30 years of experience from the front office, and he's got a laundry list of top names that he drafted that really did well in the league. And I would really like to see the Raiders not make a surprise and draft Hayden. What was it out of Houston? The guy that had the heart issue, DJ.
Oh yeah.
DJ Hayden, or the small, strong safety out of Virginia.
Adam Abraham.
No, I liked him. He was okay. Carl Joseph, tiny guy.
Carl Joseph,
and it's like, guys.
Well,
why are we making these picks?
Have you ever heard that saying, like, don't ask what's in the sausage, don't see what and I'm thinking of like, I don't want to know what's going on in the war room, because pretty much right now everything's open. We could trade Devontae Adams tomorrow for this. All those scenarios are there. I don't want to hear it. I want Devontae. I don't even want Josh Jacobs. I want
Josh might not be back.
I don't think. Yeah.
Is it Zamir White? Is it Zamir?
Zamir.
Yeah.
Don't they call him Zeus though, or it's Zamir White's name though? But yes,
he's proven capable, and I guess the trend in the league is running back by committee.
Right.
So you'll bring some other guys in that are hungry, that will give you 3 or 4 yards to carry. And that's really all you're looking for. Get me that first down.
Well, the way Josh plays, it's dangerous. He initiates contact when he doesn't have to. I
know. And I'm so sorry that he couldn't get a multi-year contract.
Right.
If we bring him back, great. I hope so, but it's highly unlikely.
Well, and that's the part that I want to get past. I just like, can we fast forward this so I know what we're dealing with and I can be sad? I remember.
No holdouts. I want to go into camp with the full roster.
Yes.
Injury free, and we hit the ground running in September.
And this is probably a bad idea, but somehow I want Khalil Mack back. And he's not what he was, but just, it's like, remember when Woodson came back? I was so happy.
God.
I was so excited. Even though he was older, he wasn't the same guy, but he still was great.
He moved to safety. He was everywhere.
He was smart. He knew. You talk about veteran wisdom,
That was incredible, because he was an all-world corner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've gone back and watched that Heisman race of 97. I think it was on ESPN. And him, Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, and Ryan Leaf.
To the defensive guy. Great.
And, dude, that season was incredible. And then we draft him. And he comes into Oakland, and I mean, from day one, he let it be known, I am the man. And he played that way.
Yeah.
There was one, I shouldn't say it.
You can say it. You can say it.
There was one night before the game. It was like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. And there's Charles in a coffee shop with another player. They were ripped.
And they got a game tomorrow.
That's
so Raider, though. That is so Raider.
And then you see him the next day, and he's flying around the field. This was young Charles.
Right.
But it was like, how do they? Because I know I would have to be in bed until Monday.
Now, but a young Mitch Adams could have handled it. It's the now Mitch Adams. You're down for a couple of days, right?
But he got out there and they played, and it's like, whoa. And maybe it was just me seeing them out that late, like, whoa, what's going on here? But for them, maybe it wasn't that late.
Well, so I mean, you think about those days, and Bo Jackson and Charles Woodson were two people that didn't like to practice. They would practice, but it's like they were saving it for the game. Which is something you don't want to tell kids now. You want to say, hey, play like you practice, Well, not to those two. Those guys did their own thing,
But when you're so good, practice has to be boring.
Right. Yeah.
It has to be boring. Morris told me a story once about Skip Thomas. He was dogging it in practice, and the coach like, Thomas, if you don't, pull your head out of your butt. Let's see, I didn't curse this time.
Good, that's
out
good.
of your butt. You're out of here. He said, I need to see 100% effort. And so Skip jumped the play. It was a down and out. And he defended the ball, not with his hands, but with his foot. He jumped up and kicked the ball out of the air. And I said, how is that for effort? And the coach is like, that's what I'm talking
right now
about.
we're talking. Well, my friend used to own the Outback Steakhouse. I think he still does. His name's Lloyd in Pleasanton. One day, I saw him, and he goes, well, your boy Sebastian Janikowski was hammered on Tuesday. I go, what? It was like he goes, I had to kick him out because it's the week of a game, and he's getting hammered on game week. I'm like, can't you just hold off, Sebastian, until the season's over, please?
But those young athletes, like you said, in their 20s,
right,
they recover quickly. If you give them straight oxygen, you're back like that, man.
Right.
So you come in the locker room like, hey, doc, oxygen me. Or you get the IV bag and you're rehydrated and you're good to go. So
I think a good Halloween costume this year would be the blue tent from the game. You just lift it up. No, I'm in the tent, man. Well, okay, so we don't have an offensive coordinator yet. There's a bunch of stuff I've been hearing, and now the Niner guy, they're waiting for him, but I think it's going to be Kingsbury. I think that's kind of what I'm feeling. I don't know.
Well, there's no rush because even colleges tend to wait on pro days and things of that nature until after the NFL season. And so once we make the call, and I'm sure it'll happen days after the Super Bowl, once you can bring those in for the last interviews, probably by that next weekend, we'll have an offensive coordinator, and then we'll be off. Everyone will be out to different colleges and taking in those pro days, and then Indianapolis will roll around and for the draft combine.
I was thinking, and this is stupid and probably will never happen, but can you imagine Caleb Williams and Russell Wilson in the backfield at the same time? Like, because first off, Russell Wilson's a shortstop. It's like they could be turning to, they could be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, no one ever thought that. No one, I mean, how crazy would that be?
Put them in together.
And you don't know who they're snapping it to.
And then you throw the sidearm, a lateral back to the other quarterback.
Turn 2, flip it back. Here we go.
For the deep ball.
Because, I mean.
Now, what do you think about, I've seen images of Russell in a Raider uniform. What do you think about that?
I was completely against it until someone told me think about this. If you had Russell Wilson instead of Aiden O'Connell the last 3 games, how would it be different? I go, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
And he wanted to be a Raider before Denver. And at the time, I remember the first time he played as Denver and we beat him, I was like, oh, thank goodness. And it just didn't work out for him. But I still think he has something. Yeah.
He's a scary quarterback because he's smart.
Yep. And he can flip it on a dime and turn around and keep a play live for 48 seconds. And no one can cover that long. It's like crazy. But like I said, whatever the decision comes down to, you and I are going to accept it and like it. We have to.
Oh, well, but the only thing that I ask for, and this is where O'Connell doesn't have it, is a quarterback with wheels.
Yeah.
Because if you can get out of that pocket and scramble for a first down, that's an added weapon to the arsenal. And so now you've got to leave somebody close to the line to worry about that, which leaves the deeper into the secondary man-to-man coverage. And you can't double everybody. So
well, he showed a lot of bravery by standing in the pocket. The problem is today's NFL, you will get hit. You will,
the only guy that could stand in the pocket like that was Brady.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he would do the Matrix, and he'd slightly turn his shoulders.
Luke Skywalker, he felt it like a Jedi mind trick or something. He knew.
And those linemen would just go flying by, and then he'd throw. Man, that guy was amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm hearing so much now that the whole reason Josh McDaniel was brought in was because owner Davis thought we were going to get Brady. And then Brady's just like, man, no.
Yeah, that's. I think the Raiders have made significant changes to come more into the fold of like the other 31 teams.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders were always run differently than the other teams, and it was more of a mom and pop sort of operation.
Yes.
It was Al and then everybody else, and now there's Mark. Now you have a team president, and there's a hierarchy. And structured more like a corporation. Before it was just Al. Al made.
That's a great point because yes, we were run different. We were run like we're in the NFL, but we didn't get the memo. We're a big team. You know what I mean? It's like, well, we're gonna string this together, and Al's gonna use his charm to get a couple vets in here, and
And he made almost all decisions.
Right.
And then when he died, and you remember Hugh Jackson tried to fill that vacuum that Al left,
right,
and make all these decisions, and he had assumed too much power, and then someone was like, I don't know who made the decision, like, well, we've got to change something here. He's acquired too much power based on Al passing, and no one challenged him.
Well, and then that was kind of the trend. Like, remember Belichick was doing it, Parcells was doing it. They were all kind of doing it, but it never worked out. Like even Rex Ryan, once they got too much power, it was too much. You need 2 or 3 people.
Same with Gruden. He brings in Mayock to just kind of co-sign, but Gruden was making all those calls.
Exactly.
And the last time we had someone on the football side other than Al was Bruce Allen that made great calls.
Right.
And after Bruce, left to Tampa, we haven't really had anybody with. I mean, Reggie McKenzie had a nice resume, but not like this Telesco has for almost 30 years.
Reggie had a little bit of the Antonio Pierce Raider heart Raider thing, but not even close to what Antonio.
Not close because Reggie cut his teeth in the front office in Green Bay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so, although he was a Raider and all of the former guys that played with him loved that he was here, he didn't grow up like Antonio did in the shadows of LA Coliseum and as a Raider, as
Art Shell too. Art Shell. I remember I was saddened when it didn't work out. And did they hired him back twice. Art came back twice, and him and Gene Upshaw in the 70s, they were the whole left side. It was just protected and strong, and Van Egan's going to run right up here. It was just like Clarence Davis, and those are the days, like, and you don't know until you know, but I was real happy when Art Shell, was the coach, and then I wish it had worked out.
That was so cool, and it wasn't so bad though. I mean, because he took over for Shanahan, and we weren't actually that bad because we did go to the championship game. Was it like 91 or 93 up in Buffalo, something like that? And
that was the bad one. It was 53-3 or something ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but most of the damage happened in the second half. That's what I think. We had Elvis Peacock.
Elvis has left the building. Right. No, I remember that. Well, so we have one more week before we get our Super Bowl picks in officially, which we don't care about.
Mine is Kansas City. I'm going.
I'm
to
hoping for just a 0-0 tie, and they can't decide it. And they just give them both half the trophy.
5 overtimes.
5 overtimes, it's over. Forget it. Nobody wins. Taylor Swift, you get the trophy. And I do predict if Kelsey and Taylor break up, that will be the meanest, greatest album of all time.
Wow. When they break up?
Yeah, it's going to happen for sure, right? I think. I don't know.
I don't know.
Is he going to change his name to Travis Swift?
Oh.
Taylor and Travis Swift.
Taylor Kelsey.
Taylor. Okay, I did look up the Kelsey thing. It was an interview with Kelsey's dad, and it's the boys and dad, and they go, "What's the deal with our name?" And he goes, "Well, it's really not Kelsey." He goes, "I was at work, and this one guy kept calling me Kelsey. Pretty soon I couldn't stop it, and I just went with it." The boys are going, "Are you kidding me? That's not." He goes, "No, it's Kelky or something like that." And he goes, They were like blown away. So it's not Kelsey. Kelsey was some dude at work. Started calling his dad that, and his dad's fine. I don't care.
That's it.
We're Kelsey now.
I had a girl at work from, she was from Russia. Her name was Anya. But when she first got there, someone called her Anna.
I remember
her name was on the thing, and I'm like, that's not Anna. She said, it's Anya. She said, but the person that hired me called me Anna, and she introduced me as Anna. I said, well,
I didn't want to lose my job.
I'm going to call you Anya because it was right there in her her thing on her desk. Anya. I'm like, don't let someone change your name.
Yeah, get a name like Gnarley. That's because my parents were hippies, apparently. Hey, Mitch, thank you so much, man. And one more time, can I see that perfect rotation basketball training device? I want to look at that. Look at the grooves in there. And so your fingers just fit right in there, right? That's just right there.
Patented it channels, baby. Patented it channels.
Channels. That's what it is.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get this into NBA gyms, for lack of a better term, their practice facilities. And I ran into Gary Payton Jr. A couple weeks ago. And Big Gary, he said, go talk to my son. My son's right over there. Tell him about the ball. Went over, introduced myself. I said, your dad said to come over. He said, man, I use that ball every day in practice.
Wow. Really?
What? He said, we got a few of them over there. So through all of my efforts of trying to get the ball into the facility, somehow, some way, I think 3 of them have worked their way into the door. So he says he's going to do a video for me. And then I said, have you ever seen Steph shoot it? He says, I haven't. He said, but I can work on him to get a video from him.
Get the video.
And I'm like, would you? Gave me a big hug and said, I got you.
You know what you need to do? Also, you got to get a Harlem Globetrotter red, white, and blue one, like the old ABA. Custom color, like Nike's shoes and stuff.
Well, that's why I need to get to a basketball manufacturer that wants to take this off my hands, and then they can put a little dollars in there.
That.
Research and development and come up with, because you could do team balls. There'd be no problem. Because the company that makes these for me in China, they asked if I wanted different colors, but I said, no, let's just go with orange for now.
Right.
And then
Well,
at some point in time,
you and Tom Hanks are buddies. Why don't you get that Wilson face, that red face on it, like the volleyball from Castaway?
Oh, Tom. Yeah, well, we'll see.
He'd probably want a typewriter on it, to be honest with you. So
We'll see.
who knows? Mitch, thank you so much. Remember, perfectrotation.com, and there is a discount of 30%, right? If you put Raiders in the code.
Put Raiders in the promo code.
Got it. All right, man. Thanks again, Mitch. We'll see you next week right here.
All right. Go Chiefs. Did I say that? Yikes.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that didn't.
I threw up a little in my mouth when you said
the Raider guys. I heard lightning outside.
Oh. We'll see you next week on Inside the Patch.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.